Hi guys, welcome to Monday Mojo. I'm your host, Nikki Fogden-Moore, otherwise known as the Mojo Maker, thanks to my clients. And welcome back to Vitality Coach TV on YouTube and the weekly Mojo Lives. So this one is going to be part 2 in the Courage series. And I want to thank everyone that wrote in to me on Instagram and also emailed me after last week and the Truth series. I've really enjoyed listening to how you've applied some of those basics and come through that whole journey. I know we ended up doing 4 videos. So if you haven't seen the Truth series, please have a look. That goes on the Monday Mojo episodes or the live episodes. You can look in the playlist on my YouTube channel, also on the blog, vitalitycoach.com.au. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to be part of my YouTube channel. I will be giving away the new to be released book, Adulting, throughout the next 8 weeks. I've got 8 copies to give away, so 1 a week for new subscribers. So if you're new to the show, thank you so much for joining me. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and all podcast type of platforms, as well as the full blogs and details on vitalitycoach.com.au, or just type in Nikki Fogden-Moore. If you do have subjects that you'd like to pursue and you want to follow up on, we'd love to hear from you. So email me at nikki@thevitalitycoach.com.au. We'll leave a message on any of the social media channels and we'll get back to you. So let's get into today's episode. I'm going to try and keep it under 20 minutes because I know even though a lot of people are in lockdown right now, there's still these busy worlds that we're all in. I like to call it productive. And I want to talk to you today as a follow-on from Courage, Daring to Pioneer, which is really standing in your own truth. This is so prevalent now in today's society where I feel that everyone, no matter what walk of life and where you sit, is feeling pretty unanchored and disengaged from what reality used to be, and what used to work before isn't working for many realms, many industries, many behaviors, and many situations anymore. We're being forced to really look within and to start to adult and take some responsibility for our own individual decisions and lives. So very important to remember that you are in charge of your destiny. You can be in the driver's seat, and information and knowledge is power, but you shouldn't worry about fear. You've got to learn to trust your heart knowledge as well, which is that passed down full inner integration of head and heart. So let's just talk a bit about today. What does it mean to take and create an alternate route? You know, I think that you have to see it's the sheep mentality. So it's often when you go to a supermarket or you'll go and you'll queue up for something, or you go to coffee, or you do certain things, one line is always longer than the other. So people just can get on autopilot and they tend to follow the herd. Whereas you may be one of the people in life that has never really followed the herd, and you've always kind of been an odd bit of a misfit. You've had a certain different perspective about the world, and you're just like, I just want to do things differently. And it's getting to the point now where the tolerance that you would have before and the ability to sort of blend in is just not possible anymore. Something deeper, something more powerful, something more passionate, something is irking you to go, I just can't take this BS anymore. I cannot take doing things the old way. I can't push my truth down. I can't push my authenticity down. I have to go and create a path that I don't even know where it leads. So that brings up massive amount of uncertainty. And the flip side of that as well is that when you're a pioneer, you don't have anyone else to talk to that's already trod that path. So you don't have a manual or a handbook. You don't have mates that have already done it. Mostly your friends and family will be, excuse me, against, I guess, what you're doing because it will freak them out, because it will be, well, you might be like disrupting our status quo. So chances are when you decide to go down a path less traveled or unpaved, you're going to disrupt not only your own internal old programming, but you're going to disrupt the status quo of many people around you. So today, I want to show you how to actually navigate your way from the clarity that you had in the Courage Part 1, which was understanding your pioneering personality and being proud of that, to authentically taking the steps with the action matrix. And all of this is in Adulting, my new book, to authentically taking the steps on what to do next. I think as well, what happens is when we do mood boards, when we think about things, we stay a lot in our head, and it prevents us from taking any cognitive next steps because our head takes us all the way down the scenarios of what could go wrong. So majority of people tend to stay in the comfort zone, even though it's maybe dysfunctional, even though it maybe doesn't add any value, even though it's not good for anyone else. At least you know what you're getting. And that's a very, very dangerous place to sit. And I think, while adventure is considered dangerous, routine can be lethal. So if you're constantly doing the same thing time and time and time again, and you're expecting different results, it's the definition of insanity. So today's challenge is to encourage you to not only dare to pioneer in your thoughts, but what do you do when you want to follow through as a leader at home, in your own life, those around you, and actually take the steps to activate that pathway that is really important for you. And I think that's very, very key for what we want to do at the moment, is make sure that you have the steps in place. And that's what this show is all about. That's what my blogs are all about. That's what my coaching is all about. It's not just saying, hey, there's all these possibilities, you can pioneer and you can do all these sorts of things, but actually to go, what do you need to do to take action? What do you need to do the right thing? What do you need to do to encourage, embody, and empower yourself to really see what you're made of? And that means sometimes shifting your coordinates, slightly a different direction, and being totally fearless and totally backing yourself. Now, when that happens, you will get a myriad of emotions, a whole lot of pushback, and all sorts of activation from other avenues you didn't even see coming. So I need to make sure that when you come to this point in the courage to take and create the alternate route, that every brick that you've set down on that road, every pathway that you've created is cemented step by step, and that cement is dry, that foundation is strong, and you're not building towers on quicksand. So let's get to it. This is about not only the choice between fear and curiosity, because you've already done that if you've been working with me through these videos for a little bit. If you haven't, I'll put the links to all the Truth series below, and I'll also put last week's Mojo on there. But I want to talk to you about the action matrix. So you've decided that you just can't ignore your inner compass, and it's pushing you out of the nest, and you've got to do something. So here we go. I want you to take and create the alternate route by coming up with a bit of a drawing. So you can write this down. I'm going to put a link to this. This is from the workbook from Adulting, the online program, and the book that's coming out. And there's 3 columns. There's step 1, step 2, and step 3. And like everything I do in decision making, under quantum decision making, there's always a section for blurts, which is what will people think? How could you do that? You don't have that experience, yada, yada, yada. Every single thing that your subconscious is going to throw at you to sabotage the joy that you can get from really following your path, right? So our subconscious sits there like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's got strong muscles. It's been developed over many, many years of our life to keep us safe. So it's just waiting for an opportunity to come up and grab one of those beautiful self-fulfilling ideas and stamp it out and tell it that you're silly, you're useless, why would you do this? You must not listen. You must be aware that your ego is not your amigo. Okay, we all know this. Have you named your ego? If you haven't heard any of my series around self-doubt, subconscious behavior, limiting beliefs, and finding your truth, then please go and listen to those, because it will tell you all about the importance of naming your ego. When you name your ego and you listen to the subconscious blurts, you diffuse any power that those blurts have of you. Now, this is a boardroom level decision, as well as, a dining room table decision when you're sitting around deciding whether to have tomato sauce or mayonnaise. We always have a yin and yang, a positive, negative, and a conversation in our heads. When you come into full alignment, when you truly start to understand the mechanics of mind, body, and soul, that gap between those two, subconscious and superconscious, just comes together. There is no gap. You become totally at one with who you are, what you want, what you need, and how to articulate that. And that's what I'm going to teach you. So the first step today is creating your end game picture, which you could have done with the goal setting stuff and you could have done if you had Fitpreneur or whatever else. So remember, what is it that you really want? You'll have an inkling, but the problem is that most people get caught up in how, and then they don't even start it. So step one is creating the end picture, listing what, why, and your initial how, not all the how, not all the detail, because that always gets taken care of. It is the initial, what do I really want from this action I want to take? Why do I really want to do that? You write that down because you would have done the work already. And then how? And then while you're doing that, you'll hear your subconscious go, oh, well, this and my wife or my colleague or my business partner or my kids, or I haven't done this for years, or I don't have a PhD, or any of the excuses. So those excuses, they go in this little blurt section right here, right? So this is your first column. Step one is writing down, what is it that you need to take action on? What do you want to get out of that? Very, very important. And once you've done that and you're really honest with your subconscious, you can start to find out, God, you know what? Okay, I've just identified that I've got all these limiting beliefs and stories in my head. They're not even true. Nobody really has control over your actions. You do. Nobody really can tell you, and this is completely illegal. And even then, people seem to do that anyway. What you can and can't do. But for some reason, we live in a mental prison, and we're so afraid of upsetting person A that we don't actually honor our own needs and wants, which means nobody wins. So if you're caught up in a codependent, people-pleasing cycle, whether it's at work or at home, you need to really do some work on that. Otherwise, you're not able to step into the driver's seat to understand the path you need to go on and to really lead in your life. You'll always be beholden to other people's opinions. Now, the flip side of that, when you start to pull your race suit on and you start to gather your pit crew and you start to realize that your ideas matter, it's like suddenly you have to back yourself. Because truly, nobody can reject you. The only rejection that really happens is that we don't fight for our own ideas, that we don't fight for what we truly value, and we don't, keep going on something that really matters to us. That is rejection. That is us rejecting ourselves. Nobody can reject. You can always say, listen, what, you didn't really like that idea, no problem. I'm going to go and pursue it anyway. You have to have the courage to lean in to your silly ideas. You have to have the courage to go, you're worth it. It takes strength as well if you're going to be supporting someone that is a pioneer, because you might be alienating yourself from the rest of the group, but then let that happen. Allow yourself to stand up for doing the right thing. Very, very important. So if you're a friend or a partner or a colleague or a business partner of a creative, visionary, pioneering person, don't try and squash their mojo. Ask, how can I help? How can I lift them up? What do they need to get done? Do they have the right dream team around them? And there is enough abundance for everybody. We all know the law of attraction, but we actually have to embody it. You can't think about it and then not do the actions. You have to embody abundance. You have to embody generosity, gratitude, and that comes with precision. Now, talking about that precision, once you've identified in your action matrix what it is that you actually want to go after, and just choose one thing. For one of my clients, it could be driving around the racetrack, in a Ferrari or something, because I make some of my clients do a fun list. They're so busy working, building their empires, looking after their families, doing all the hard yards, they've forgotten to go and do a magic fun list. What would really, really be amazing? So once you've identified what it is, then you have to do step two. And step two is listing the immediate steps and milestones, not everything you can think of. Just if I wanted to shift my ship, if I wanted to just park my car at a different angle and look over the hill, what immediate steps would I have to take for that to happen? So it's like 5 clicks in coordinates, not 50, right? But by human nature, we feel that we have to have all the dominoes lined up. We feel immediately, we go into the pain body from Eckhart Tolle and we think, oh, if I do this, XYZ will be angry at me. I'm failing the kids, I'm failing my marriage, I'm failing this business, whatever. So instead of getting informed and think, what is the next immediate steps and milestones that I have to put in place to achieve plan A? we start worrying about all the things that could go wrong. So go through and make yourself fully accountable for defining in step 2 what the small immediate next steps and milestones are. So for example, if you're writing a book, it could be, have I researched great editors? How do I go about self-publishing? Do I just need to write research on Google top 5 self-publishing and publicist? Who knows? What information do you need to take that next step? Or do you need to find yourself a mentor? Do you need to find yourself someone that is experienced in the industry that can actually share some of their knowledge? And then you have to figure out who in my ecosystem is the most supportive person that I can pick up the phone to and say, I really need you to back me in this. I need an accountability buddy. Because it doesn't matter how passionate we might be about an idea, we all have weak moments. We just do. It's called life. It's called being human. Nobody is made of titanium. Nobody sits through every single day and says, well, that was a perfect day. I haven't worried about a thing. That's just not how we're built. It's not how society is manufactured its people lately. So once again, with each step, I want you to actually articulate the blurts just here, not like think about them, but write them down as they come through. Then you can start to understand your light and your dark side, the yin and yang, your negotiation with self around why something really matters. And the third step to taking action, to taking and creating the alternate route, to paving a new path, brick by brick, is doing the work. And that means putting it into action. So what are the immediate 3 tasks that you need to do? How are you designing your winning weeks that those activities during that week lead into that new area of results? So not just the idea, not just the mood board, and not just identifying the tasks, but integrating that into your winning week, really making it happen. Thinking about who do you need to communicate to that XYZ is happening? Who needs to know about this? Who's going to assist you? Who's going to co-create? Who's done it before that can help you? And what are your winning week actions? Because winners don't wing it. You have to have a game plan. You don't go out on a rally in Dakar without your resources. You don't go out with some kind of compass, GPS system, understanding of where you're going. You don't go out without a pit crew. And you don't go out without a backup plan. And I think what happens is the biggest hurdle that most people get to when they've gone, I really love that, Nikki, I so want to do that. That is so my truth, is that their fear comes up. And the thing that stopped them the whole time from doing this in the past was, sorry about that, Roxy's obviously, was the fact that will keep you from doing it anytime in the future, which is making sure that your fears do not get in the way of your actions. So please make sure that your fears do not get in the way of your actions. It's so, so crucial. So the way to do that is to identify your fears, to identify what those blurts are at every step of the way. Because when you do that, then all of a sudden you know what they are and you can tackle them. But if you leave those fears as ideas, if you leave those fears as perception, Roxy, come here. If you leave those fears as an ideology and they're not real, all that does is that perceived outcome. It's not the truth. It is program perceived rejection. It is program perceived failure. It is past pain body thinking this is going to go all wrong. So that all comes back to you have to have faith in yourself. And the only way to do that is to go brick by brick. It's not to try and create something massive that you can't chew bite by bite. It is brick by brick, pave by pavement. And then you have a look back and you've got this amazing road that you can always walk back and you can bring others along with you. But if you don't make a solid foundation, if you don't place every brick on that road and cement that and let it dry, then you can't have others follow you. It's built on quicksand. And that's the most important thing about taking action, is not trying to do it all at once. And also the other thing is not everyone's going to get it. And that's the whole point. If you think about all the greatest inventors, all the people that did everything despite everyone else, you've got Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Richard Branson, you've got Einstein, you've got Barack Obama. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. You can pick a million examples. You can pick people like Audrey Hepburn. You can pick Ariana Huffington. It really doesn't matter. What matters is these people have the courage to pave their own way. And then what did they create? They parted the ocean for other people to follow. They created job opportunities. They created a sense of community. They created a sense of hope, and they created a conviction that made sure that they didn't go back and have to redo that path. But they knew that there was step by step along the way. And that means using an action matrix rather than just keeping your ideas on paper. Are you prepared to back yourself? I just want to talk about one final thing before I jump offline, because I did promise to make it 20 minutes. And sorry about the interruption from Roxy. She's a fierce guard dog. I think a lot of people, once they start to have a voice, and I know this myself, perhaps there's radio silence around you when you actually decide to stand up for what you believe in, when you decide to not lower your values, when you decide to really hang in there and say, you know what, I'm going to set these boundaries. This is not okay. When you do that, do not be put off by other people's lack of response, lack of reaction to doing the right thing, lack of supportive action, not just words or likes or hashtags or a collective kind of veiled support. But you will find that you will alienate yourself because you're taking a stand. You will find that it feels like there's tumbleweed going through town because you're the only one that says, no, I don't want to accept that. If you're doing that, please be brave, and please know that once you go from one road to another road, there might be darkness in the middle, but that new road will be lit up for you. And there will be new people on that pathway that resonate with you, that are proud of you, that you've forged an opportunity for, and are part of that collective energy to not only say the right thing, but to do the right thing, because what used to work isn't going to work anymore. So harness that courage, harness that vision, that conviction, that truth, that clarity, and do more than just read it on Instagram. Be it, embody it. Support other people that you see taking a stand of grace and integrity despite all odds, because it's a really lonely road at the top. And the more people we can genuinely support to speak in their truth, to be community, collective community co-creators, to share abundance, to build on that, and to be positive in a world where everyone seems to have another avenue, you get to shine your light this time. You get to say, I'm going to choose to stand in this pathway. And it might take a couple of minutes for the light to come on, but it will come on. And you have to trust that silence. You have to trust the gap that's created from past to present, because it's scary, it's unnerving, it can make you feel like you're doing everything wrong, but that's just society trying to keep everybody in the same thing. So I urge you to put your hand up if you're trying to stand up for something. And I remember a question in the audience when I was speaking at Career Trackers on their 10th anniversary, and someone said, well, how do I always overcome the fact that I'm the minority in the room? I never get offered the job. You have to be the change that you want to see. No one else is going to be in front of you. And for all the people that have pioneered for us, keep going, because perhaps looking around thinking someone else is going to step up, but you're it all along. And you know in your gut that you're made of magic. You know in your gut that you're a true leader. And that's why resources like this, which give you a practical ability to take your ideas and that conviction and apply it to everyday life, are so important in our cluttered world where everything is confusing. So the first thing you have to do is blend and come into unity with yourself, to understand what you want to achieve, the initial milestones, how you're going to integrate that in your week, and to hear the conversations, the blurts that you're having with yourself, imposed by others or self-imposed by old programming. Identify those so you can immediately defuse them, detach from them, and still run your own show. So I hope this has really helped you today with the action matrix. I know that many of you have taken a stand to say no about things, to set boundaries, to stand up for yourselves, and to create a life that you truly want. So please don't give up right now. You might just be in the middle of enormous change, and it will feel like you don't know where you're going. And that's kind of the beauty of life, is that sometimes we don't need to know everything. We just have to trust. So if you can trust the drive, if you can drive with fog lights on for a little bit, but know that your heart is a great GPS. And when you're in alignment, you can never go wrong. That's a really fantastic asset. And that's how you will sustain your success. That's how you'll learn to find your inner trust, to never reject yourself, and to stand up for yourself time and time again. And by doing so, you're going to inspire so many other people. So don't give in. Just because you're doing something that nobody else is doing is even more reason to do it. Do it with goodness, do it with grace, do it with kindness, integrity, and do it with passion and drive. Do not lower your standards to suit other people's insecurities, because this more than ever, we need you to shine. We need to stand up. And you need to be the change that we want to see. So if you love this video, please leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Join me on Monday Mojo on the vitalitycoach.com.au. On the main page there, you can sign up. It's all free. All my blogs and podcasts are all free. Books, Fitpreneur and Vitality, and the Vitality Roadmap are all available now, as well as my Monday Mojo quote cards. And you can pre-order Adultine. And the first 100 pre-orders will also get access to the online program, which is really fantastic. I'm super proud of that. So thank you to those that have supported me and my crazy ideas. Thank you to those of you, especially lately, that have become real inspiration to keep spurring me on. And I guess as well, thank you so much to my private leadership clients who, I don't know what to say other than you should be so proud of yourselves, because not only are you elevating everything that you're doing in your own world and your own business and your own community, but the ripple effect that you're having is outstanding. So it's really a privilege and a pleasure to be part of that. So I'm your host, Nikki Fogden-Moore. This is your Monday Mojo, the Courage Series number 2. Thank you so much for joining. Whenever you watch this, it's just the right time for you. There's no date or time specific. It's all about the message. And my main message for you is step up and show up for yourself, because you are your greatest asset and you deserve to have every single bit of energy going into what makes you passionate, alive, fueled, and loving your life. Until next time, you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and come join me on the other podcasts and show. Links are all below as well for my books. If you've got questions, just reach out. I'd love to help. Bye.